Well, tournament season 2024 has now officially started for me. There's a bunch of tournaments going on out there. Bass Champs was on Sam Rayburn yesterday. On January 20th, I was fishing the Northeast Division of Media Bass here on Lake of the Pines, and let me tell you, it sucked for me. Maybe it's because I suck at fishing, probably, but still like being out there. But holy cow, was it cold. When I got there at the boat ramp here in Alley Creek over here, right here, which is where we put in at for media bass, my truck was saying 16 degrees. And then my phone was saying it was a wind chill down into the single digits of 8 degrees. And damn, coming off that water, it felt colder than that. And I put on all my striker gear, as you've seen in the video up here, that I use the striker ice outfits, and it kept me warm, but there was no amount of protection to keep my hands warm. Just wasn't going to happen. And so that just kind of made things very hard. But I'll quit crying and kind of go over what we did and how we did it. But they let us trailer to any place on the lake that we wanted to launch. And I just decided to launch right there. And I ran over here to Johnson Creek while it was still dark. And for the love, my ball still ain't dropped. It was cold. North winds about 10 to 15. So I didn't get wet or anything. The old Phoenix kept me good and dry, bouncing across there first thing in the morning. And I came up in here and started fishing right here on that point. And this right here point was the only place that I was able to catch a single bass. It was the only bite that I had. I jumped down here to this point where the buoy is. And there's a lot of good stuff under the water here. Rocks. There's a bunch of poles right here where it looked like they was fixing to build a dock or something. But you can tell they started a project and never finished it. But the creek channel swings in right here. And I caught one on the old Kistler sissy stick, helium sissy stick with a Kistler reel. And yes, I'm on their field staff. But not paid sponsor by say for YouTube sakes. On a Picasso 1/4 ounce shaky head with a 6-inch divine shaky head worm, and that's all I could really throw. I had 6 sissy sticks on deck because the ice was freezing up in bait casters and just causing havoc. That's how cold it was. But I flipped that shaky head worm around and around this point here. I came over to this point and then down onto this point and just did a bunch of point hopping. And then even came out here toward this point and this point where the creek channel again swings in really kind of deep right here. And then even on this point, I was able to scope some fish. But damn, I just couldn't fish. I couldn't focus. My hands were so cold. I couldn't even, with the gloves on, I couldn't even get fingers around the rod to hold it properly. And trying to sling that son of a gun with gloves on a sissy stick, man, and it just wasn't good. But I moved on down over here to Hurricane and really didn't have any luck there neither. I fished the bridge that went across right here and up in here. Scoped more crappie than I did anything else, but still couldn't get them to eat nothing. And then I came over here to the marina, flipped in some in here. There's a boat ramp right here that's got all kinds of crap right here. And then right here beside it is a nice deep rocky point that I fished. Couldn't find anything. And then I went to this buoy, fished some brush in there. Couldn't get nothing. Came out, hit the rocky side of this island right here. And then all of these rocky points always had boats on them. So I came down here, fished the pump station, lost more rigs because there's a bunch of ways to hang up on the rock down here in front of this pump station and whatnot. And then I came all the way back up into Alley and finished my day there, which I hit this long rocky point with some stuff in it, hit these big boulders that are right here, and if you got the Navionics mapping, you can see where the creek runs right here by it, but there's a lot of big rock, I mean some boulders down in there if you scan over it with your side image. And then also you can see on your Navionics, you can see this number 3. Well, this is where Texas Park and Wildlife dropped some brush in it. And if you click on there, it tells you it's number 3, and they call it a fishing facility. So that's number 3. Over here is number 1, and then here's number 2. And I hit a good 7 to 8 of these as well. Still nothing. And there's several on this side. Like here's another one right here. Here's number 4. Number 5 was right there that I just showed you. And I hit all of those brush just the same. And I just couldn't make nothing work. It took nearly 29 pounds to win it. And there was 2 8-pounders brought in. So between those 2 teams, man, hats off to them. They were clearly doing something that I was not doing. But I still managed to get 7th with 1 fish. If that tells you, past those 2 boats, there were some single teamed boats that were brought in, such as myself, and everybody else zeroed. Water temperature was 39 to 41 degrees. Again, right after a cold front, nasty cold front. I got pipes busting back at the house. So I get to do all that work here in the coming days to repair pipes. But at the end of the day, man, it was just freaking cold. There's no doubt about it. But I wanted to share with y'all how I was catching fish, or caught a fish, and what I did and where I went to catch them. And hopefully that helps y'all out. So I'll do this after every tournament, for which the wife was letting me fish quite a few. So between the Media Northeast Division here, I got the Media Fork Trail, I got King of the Hill, and we got the Couples Trail that we're going to do this year. And then anywhere else I can find an open day where I can be on the water, obviously I want to be on there. But again, Lake of the Pines, January 20th, year 2024, freezing ass cold. There was no grass down here in any of these areas. So if those dudes made the run way up north to fish in some grass in the river, man, they were ballsy. But again, they could have trailered up there to help keep from getting cold. But when I drove across the lake that morning, there was still ice patches that I could see up there on the 155 bridge. But I've also heard some folks may have been catching them in some of these creek bends over here in the main lake. I've never fished that part of the lake. I've got to get better at doing that to know this lake. But as you can see, there's a lot of ledges and whatnot in this lake. But man, there are crappie boats all over it. So that's just part of it. But we'll get out there. We'll learn this lake a lot more. We will get better on this lake. That's for sure. But thanks for viewing, and appreciate the time. Y'all go rip some lip. Stay safe.